considered as the status symbol of our time. So when I was 9 and the talk was of changing the car, you could only imagine my joy. You see, up to this, we had a mousy grey Mark I Ford Cortina. A car for taking a band of children to school, churns to the creamery and a grandmother to collect her pension was all that we needed. Farming was booming in the late 70s, and I knew we were rich because the year before a new flash-up extension was built on at the back of our house, which provided us with a shower in every room, any time it rained. So it was no surprise when my parents arrived from Mallow sporting the new Mark II Ford Cortina. At school I would boast to all my friends and enemies that we had a new United Nations blue Mark II Ford Cortina 1.6L Reg 9596 ZT. It had features which included 4 doors, seat belts, a 2-speed wiper and spray of water onto the windscreen, a cigarette lighter, although there were no smokers in our house. But if any smokers travelled with us in our new car, they would never have to crack a match. And there was a space for a car radio. The new car was our family's pride and joy, and we were promised loads of days out driving. Even if we didn't go out a particular Sunday, I was happy to sit in the driver's seat of our new car outside our front door at home, and with one hand on the steering and my elbow on the window, I was on the road to Amarillo. Our pride was diminishing and our joy short-lived, because the new car started to give trouble. Now, little things at first. The little soon became large. A faulty battery, the motor for the wipers gave up, springs cracked, engine seized. By the time the 12-month warranty was out on our new car, one could almost say that we had a new car again, because every part of the crocodile had been replaced, reconditioned, or removed. Once the warranty was out, we were on our own, and we were perplexed how a car could develop new problems day after day, week after week. The most reoccurring problem was starting it in the mornings. With the bonnet open and my father looking into the engine, he would say, "Try it again. Pull out the choke, press in the choke, press the accelerator, lift your leg off the accelerator, you flooded it." Scratching the back of his head through a tweed cap in resignation, he would say, "We'll give her a push." "We'll give her a push" became the family refrain, because every morning that is what we would have to do. Throw the school bags into the boot and start pushing. By the time the car was started, at the bottom of our passage, or nowadays avenue, as my wife insists on me calling it, we would have received our daily allowance of carbon monoxide fiber. And sometimes if I started coughing up blood, my mother would only say, "'Twill harden your lungs and make a man of you, boy." Well, it has, and it did. Mind you, there was no such thing as favoritism in our house. Nara pushed as well. We became so good at push-starting the car that instead of the driver having to reverse back up the road to collect the weary pushers once the car was started, we decided to do the pushing from the doors instead of from the boot. This involved opening the doors of the car. Anyone that was pushing would push, running them outside the car, with their 2 hands on the door. The driver would have 1 hand on the steering, 1 hand on the door, and his shoulder firmly to the door arch. Once we had gathered enough momentum to start the car, the driver would shout, "No!" Like our modern-day politicians in Northern Ireland, it was imperative that we would all jump together. fair play to her. She was good to pick herself up, go across the shortcut, and we'd always pick her up. After Mass on a Sunday was perhaps the most humiliating time for us to be out pushing the car. My only prayer at Mass was to swear to God that whatever else would happen to me, I would not be the owner of a Ford car. We would always park down St. James's Avenue, near the Protestant church, because there was a good fall of ground there. It was bad enough having every Roman Catholic in Mallow laughing at us out pushing the car. But every week as we whizzed past the Church of Ireland and the inside the gates looking out at us, they must have thought to themselves, what have these people done out of the way? They have been given such pillars by their church. Years later, whilst coming home from a disco one night, I rode off the car on a whore of a bend between Mallow and Tupat House. As I sailed in over that ditch, for one brief moment in my life, I was flying without wings. Now, I don't know whether it was for punishment or not, but the following day my father went off and bought another Cortina. I did everything I could to stop him buying it, but he said he didn't have a great trade-in now after what I had done. This other Cortina, he said, it was a fresh-looking car with reasonable mileage, and the money wasn't out of the way. Years later, he would concede that crashing the blue Cortina was perhaps one of the best days' work that I had ever done.